Ah, that Art the Clown. Such a silly guy. Such a goofball. Loves a bit of shenanigans, bit of malarkey, bit of tomfoolery. He's just having a bit of fun and making some goofs. Do not prosecute him. Terrifier 2 has become something of a horror sensation over the last couple of weeks. So much so that I went out of my way to track down the first one, which I hadn't seen, just so I could go out and see this one before it left theaters. And I'm very glad I did. The first Terrifier isn't great. It's a pretty bare bones movie with stock standard characters, has some incredible kills and gore, but that's really its only draw card. Whereas Terrifier 2 kind of acts as the Raid 2 to the Terrifiers, the Raid 1. Not so much in terms of quality, but just in terms of elevation and scope, because this movie just takes the original, adds about an hour worth of plot, and ups the crazy factor tenfold. And I loved it. It was a great time. Still, not a ton to describe in terms of plot here for this one, but I guess we do get a much better protagonist this time around. Sienna, played by LaVera. She's sort of tied into Art's mythology. She's lost her dad recently. He had this mysterious connection to Art the Clown. So they're trying to sort of build him up now as this mythologist slasher icon. And while some of it does feel a bit forced, I really love so many of the directions they take this already great character creation, because that's why you see this movie, Art the Clown. I'm glad that they got some better human protagonists in this, but really, that's not why we're here. And David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown, he used to be a professional mime, and it's a completely wordless performance, and he's just sensational. He genuinely one of the most psychotic and evil horror villains in recent memory, and he has a lot of fun doing it. He's always smiling. He's always like like making silly gestures, putting on funny sunglasses, trying to ask people for Halloween candy. He's so great. And I think the levity of him clowning around, and it's not so much like a Pennywise where he's just this pure evil force. He's very much acts like a clown, despite the fact that he is brutally murdering people. And I think this levity really helps the film remain watchable, because I know, like, if you're a gore fiend, you're here for gore, but the kills in this are very over the top, and I think that without this sort of levity, it might be actually be pretty hard to watch. But it makes it really fun, and this really like it makes the kills more palatable, I guess. It doesn't feel super cruel or mean. The kills are very cruel and mean, but I think the film is coming from a fun place, and it's very stylized, and it gets that horror movies are meant to be a bit silly and stupid and goofy, and it really, really works. I'm sure you've heard the stories, but yeah, the kills in this thing are next level, and there's one sequence that I won't tell you the details of, but it's so prolonged. It goes for maybe 2 or 3 minutes with this character still being alive and just getting brutalized. And what I love about the kills is that it doesn't feel like torture porn. It's gleeful, absolutely. It's gleeful, and there's a lot of fun to be had in watching people get mashed the fuck up, but it doesn't linger on it. And it really doesn't feel like torture porn. It's just get in, get out with your gore fix. And I think it worked, because I'm really not one for torture porn or that sort of stuff, but I love a good kill. I love some gore when it's done well, and it's really done well. And a lot of that comes down to Damien Leone, the director, who also, he wears a lot of hats on this, but he also does the special effects for it. And they are so impressive, and yet it's just yet another argument for practical effects over digital, because when done right, they just look so much better. This thing really puts to shame most other big studio slasher movies that have been made in the last 10 years. Maybe not so much in terms of plot and storytelling. It is still quite low budget. I know that's an aesthetic that kind of works in its favor, but just in terms of it gets what a slasher movie needs to be. and has so much fun doing it. And it gets really weird and surreal and metaphysical by the end, and sets us up for a third one, of course. And I'm sure that third one's going to have an even bigger budget and even crazier kills. So I'm very excited for it. But it's just a real joy that a film like this got a theatrical release. Not a big theatrical release. I think its run might actually be over now post Halloween weekend. It only played for a few nights here, but I'm very glad I managed to get out to one, because seeing this film with a packed crowd of people grunting and groaning and laughing and reacting and saying what the fuck in the theater, it's something I really don't take for granted, and it was a real joyous time. Except for the 4 guys in my row who kept taking phone calls during the film. I hope Art the Clown fucking finds you people. I'm gonna give Terrifier 2 an 8 out of 10. It's 2.5 hours long. It definitely doesn't quite earn that, and some of the storytelling stuff does feel a little forced, but as a pure slasher, it gets the job done. It's well-paced, and it's never boring. So if you're into this sort of shit, and I really specifically mean if you're into this sort of shit, this movie really is for sickos only, definitely seek it out. I think it's on Screenbox in the States. If it comes to streaming here, it's definitely one to look for and watch it with some friends and get drunk. It's a wonderful time, and I'm very excited for the third one. I tip my hat to you, Damien Leone. You're a madman, and you seem really, really passionate about what you're doing and genuinely talented. Like, good special effects can really elevate a low-budget film like this, like nothing else. And yeah, hats off. It's a really fun time. So that's it for Terrifier 2. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Letterboxd. That's where I'm the most active, and you can find what I'm doing. That's it. Stay tuned for more videos. Have a good one.